Okay. All right, we'll call the Tuesday, May 26th, 2020 meeting to order. Ask clerk to take roll.
Walters.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Anderson. You're muted, Ron.
Here.
And Sarchet.
I'm here too.
First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I have no additions or corrections. I would take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters. Walters.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's now time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on the proposed development agreement with Quick Trip. Ask the clerk when the notice is published.
May 15th.
Any written comments for or against?
No, sir.
Excellent. Staff can provide a report.
Tonight, we are proposing that the City Council enter into a development agreement with Quick Trip for the Quick Star project taking place in Polk City. They are being required to install traffic signal at the intersection of Parker and Bridge, and are offering them a TIF rebate for 3 years for 50% of the cost of that traffic signal.
Any questions from anybody?
How long will that take for the payoff? Do we have any idea?
3 years, $125,000. We would generate about $47,000 annually, so it would be a little less than 3 years.
Thank you. That's good news.
Yep.
Excellent. Is there anyone on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against the proposed amendment? Hearing none, I'll need a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion's carries. Next item is Resolution 2020-55, approving development agreement with Quick Trip Incorporated, authorizing annual appropriation tax increment payments and pledging certain tax increment revenues to the payment of the agreement. I need a motion, please.
Really quickly, I'm sorry,
Yep.
Mayor. I have
You're fine.
one proposed change to the agreement. I talked to Quick Star later this afternoon, and they requested some additional language. That would be on the first page, that bottom paragraph. And I did not get a response from bond counsel. So what I would propose is that we enter into the development agreement with proposed changes okayed by our bond counsel. They just asked that it's that they would not be responsible for completing the project. As in the traffic signal, if their project doesn't happen, and they would like for that to state the city also. So the city and the developer would not be responsible for the traffic signal if the project does not take place.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody on that, comments or motion on that resolution?
I've had a question asked of me that I probably should have known the answer but didn't. Is this intersection going to include turn lanes once the development goes in?
Yes, I believe so. Kathleen, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. I started to answer, but I had muted myself, so sorry about that. But yes, there will be turn lanes. There'll be a southbound left turn lane, and there will also be a northbound left turn lane into Quick Trip, both of those on Parker Boulevard. There's going to be a right turn / deceleration lane into Quick Trip's Quick Star, excuse me, driveway that would be a shared driveway with a lift station just past Parker Boulevard.
Okay, and those will be paid for by the developer, correct?
Yes, they'll also, just so you know, the construction drawings for public improvements, when they come forward to you with the site plan, it will also include a median on Parker Boulevard so that you won't have vehicles trying to turn left from Parker into, as they're going north, into the southbound left turn or south entrance into Quick Star, so that there's not you don't have people crossing the turn lanes or trying to drive through the turn lanes. They'll need to drive north and use the new left turn lane into their north entrance, if that makes sense. So there'll be a median on Parker to prohibit northbound left turn lanes into Quick Trip other than at the designated location. There'll also be a median island on Bridge Road so that eastbound traffic coming over the bridge will not be able to turn left by the lift station. They'll need to go all the way to Parker, turn north there and enter that direction as well.
Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah, I would agree. That is a good question. I really hope that this development can be a progression in the known parking or traffic issues that we have there. I'm also trust Kathleen's engineering perspective that will do that. I'm also hopeful. It'd be nice to have a convenience store that's more interested in being a corporate citizen than at least one of the ones that we have now that's right on the square. So hopeful that turns out to be a positive relationship there.
Any other questions? Need a motion then.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2020-55 pending attorney approval from additional language.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes,
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on the intent to assign and convey improvements, property, and pertinent easements to the Wastewater Reclamation Authority, or the WRA. I'll ask the clerk when the notice was published.
May 15th?
Any written comments for or against?
No, sir.
Excellent. Staff provide a report, please.
I'll pick up on this one.
Thanks.
For a lot of you, this is probably deja vu because you have been through this same process before. We're now getting finally to the end of the Rock Creek Sewer Project and have all documentation in place now to turn everything over to the WRA. It has been a 13-year process, with the last 7 years trying to get property easement issues and core easement issues taken care of. It had been so long since you've been through it the first time that the WRA attorneys asked us to go through the procedure again. So this is the required procedure when a city enters into or conveys interests or enters into leases or agreements longer than 3 years concerning property interests. And so that's why we had to go through the public hearing process. But my recommendation is that we approve it and move on with this issue and get it turned over to the WRA soon.
Amy, this is the same project that we've had troubles with Rock Island Real Estate, correct?
With the Corps.
Yeah, the Rock Island District Corps of Engineers Real Estate
Correct.
Office.
Yes, we've been waiting on easements from them, revised easements for 3 years.
Right.
And we finally received them a week ago Friday. So
right. So it took them a better part of a decade to get something and make us pay extra.
Correct.
Twice.
Correct.
So, you know, this is an ongoing problem. I don't blame WRA. I know they've reached out to everyone here at some point in time over the years, and it's very unfortunate that we have a federal agency, a specific department within a federal agency that can't do their job in a timely manner.
Yeah, so I'm gonna piggyback. I was gonna reference this in my comments, but I'll do it now because it is a perfect example, and I need to give some kudos to Jeff. So we had talked last week about a meeting we had with Senator Ernst's office, and Jeff did a lot of work to put together a bunch of examples where the Army Corps just hasn't been a good neighbor and this has delayed things, and this is a perfect example. They're not always 3 years, but they are usually a delay. So there's not always, one of the things that I've learned over and over and over again, that larger government doesn't take kindly to smaller government pointing things out. So the only thing we can do is reference our elected officials at that higher level, and we'll see where it goes. But just wanted to acknowledge all the work that Jeff put in and meticulously listing out all the projects. And this is another example of things that not only delay inevitable projects, but as he pointed out, come at a cost to us, an additional cost to us. So record never day, but thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome. And Jenny, Jason will have the right paperwork. It's not the one that has all the goofy
Correct.
scribbles and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, it's all been updated in the packet, but yes, what I printed off for him is updated.
Any other questions? Is there anyone on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against the proposal? I need a motion to close the public hearing, reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 2020-56, authorizing assignment and conveyance of improvements, property, and permanent easement to the Des Moines Metropolitan Wastewater Reclamation Authority. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's time again to close the regular meeting and open another public hearing on the proposed budget amendment for fiscal year 1920. Ask the clerk when the notice is published.
May 15th?
Any written comments for or against this one?
No, sir.
Chelsea, you're up.
For the council's consideration this evening, we have put together a second budget amendment for fiscal year 20. We are requesting 3 functions be amended in the city's budget, which include public safety, culture and recreation, and general government. The total proposed budget amendment is for $149,000.
Any questions for Chelsea? Anyone on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 2020-57, approving budget amendment number 2 for fiscal year 1920. Need a motion, please.
Motion to approve resolution 2020-57.
Second.
Roll call.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, consent agenda. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. On to business items. Item A, Zunkel Estates Plat 1, Resolution 2020-60, approving preliminary plat. Kathleen?
Yeah, this is a plat that's located in the 2-mile area around Polk City. It is essentially dividing one lot into 2 separate pieces and dedicating right-of-way to Polk County for the road. It also reserves a future right-of-way based on your comp plan for a collector street. So the plat before you, both the preliminary plat and the final plat, have addressed all of staff's review comments, and it was recommended for approval at their last meeting.
Any questions for Kathleen? Can I get a motion for Resolution 2020-60?
Jason, and if you wanted
Oh.
to combine those 2 resolutions, because you got preliminary and final plat together. So if someone wanted to make that motion, you sure could do it that way.
So I agree with the dog, and but we'll combine. So it's the motion to approve Resolution 2020-60 and 2020-61 together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Resolution 2020-62, approving the site plan for P&M Apparel. Kathleen, do you want to speak to this, or?
I can start it off. I don't know if there's someone
Excellent.
here who has
Yep.
anything else they want to add.
I see Kay on the phone.
Yep. P&M Apparel is proposing to construct a new 8,220 square foot building that would be located on the vacant lot just west of Fairway at the southwest corner of 5th and West Bridge Road. They are proposing a parking lot on the west side and a building that would be faced primarily with gray brick veneer and some metal panels underneath the roof line. They'll have 2 entrances, one of which will line up with Fairway's entrance, and they'll have a detention pond in the southwest corner of their site. The applicant has requested to defer sidewalks on a portion of their site. The public sidewalks would be constructed along 5th and along West Bridge only to the as far from the intersection west to where it would turn south in front of their building. Then they would defer the sidewalks on the western portion of their site until such time as that sidewalk was ever extended on the core property, I guess probably to that trailhead. But at this point in time, that sidewalk would not go anywhere. So they're proposing a sidewalk agreement that would defer that. I don't know if anyone has any questions or if Kay has anything she wanted to add. We would be requesting approval of the site plan as well as the sidewalk agreement and a 10-foot wide public sidewalk easement on the north side of the property for the West Bridge Road sidewalk, just due to grading issues.
I don't have any questions, but this is exciting. I'm so happy for you guys to be in this position, in this environment. I know it's been a while coming, but great for you guys. I would echo the comments. I think it was by Ron in the P&Z meeting. I want to be very narrow on when we defer these sidewalks, but I think this, like Ron said in the meeting, Ron Hankins, this makes sense. So no issues there. I'm in full support and excited to see this come along on a really nice piece of property with an already local business.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-62.
Second.
Kay, did you have anything you wanted to add before we take action on this?
No, I don't think so, unless there's other
Okay.
question.
Nope. Nope, just giving you the opportunity since you joined in, so. Yeah. Roll call, please.
Walters, sorry.
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. And Kay, I'd echo Rob's comments. I applaud you guys for doing that. It's going to be awesome. Looks like a nice building up there.
Great. Thank you so much.
Item C, second reading of ordinance 2020-600, vacation of portion of the overland flowage easement in Whitetail Ridge Plat 2. Take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sarchet. Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. We do have an option to waive the third reading of ordinance 2020-600. If anybody would like to make that motion or any reason for or against.
I'll make the motion to waive the third reading of ordinance 2020-600.
Second.
Questions, discussion? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2020-59, accepting a new public storm sewer easement on lots 4 and 5 of Whitetail Ridge Plat 2. Kathleen?
Yeah, this is a storm sewer easement that's in the same location essentially as the overland flowage easement you just waived a part of. It's to cover a corrugated metal pipe that was extended by Jared that improves the buildable areas on both lots 4 and 5. So this just allows the city to maintain that storm sewer.
Questions for Kathleen or a motion?
Motion to approve resolution 2020-59.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, review RFP results and approve a 3-year audit agreement. Chelsea?
In your packet for review and consideration are 4 bids for consideration for the city's 3-year audit RFP. I'm quite pleased. We actually received 5 bids. The 5th bid was incomplete. They were missing quite a few items requested in the RFP. It would be my recommendation to the council that we award the lowest bidder, and that would be to Martins & Co. And I thought they provided us with some good references with the city of Grimes and the city of Altoona. So a 3-year contract with them would be $33,900.
Who have we used up till this point? I know I should know that.
Baller, the second lowest bid. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even going to try to butcher that second name.
Kinchlow.
There you go.
Yeah, so,
Questions?
no, sorry. Savings is.
No, go ahead.
That's good. It is more than a little bit interesting to me that to fulfill a state requirement, another state entity is the highest bid in this scenario, but is what it is, I guess.
Take a motion, please. Or do we need a motion on that? Yes. Okay. Amy said yes. You're muted, but yes.
Yes, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I did the same thing earlier. So anyway, somebody want to make a motion on Martins & Company?
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. Roll call, please.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item F, second reading of ordinance 2020-500, amending chapter 106 concerning collection of solid waste. Motion, please.
We have anybody that wants to weigh in on this? I know we got some callers.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, this is Suzanne Sochi from Lost Lake. I had a few questions from our neighborhood via the webpage that I'd like to ask. You guys hear me okay?
Yep. We'll give you just a couple minutes since we're not in a public hearing.
Okay. They wanted to know who was invited to the bid for this before a decision was made.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Susie?
Sure. Who was included in the bid before a decision was made on one collective service?
Are you asking about haulers? Are you asking what haulers were
I suppose
included?
that's another word for it. Yeah, the haulers.
Yeah, I know that currently MWA has contracts with Ankeny Sanitation, Metro Waste Authority, and one other one that I'm unsure of, but all three of them were notified, and then all of the haulers that currently service Polk City had an opportunity to have conversations with MWA.
Okay. All right. There was a few that had called their vendors and they said they were not aware, like Garbage Guys, some smaller ones. So I just wanted to get that question answered. And then there was a question on with the cremated sanitation. Was there any thought to just having them aligned specific days instead of having a mandatory garbage service to minimize the number of days that garbage was out? I know there was a concern around garbage receptacles being on the streets Monday through Friday. Was that a consideration given by the council?
No, I don't think we ever had that.
Sorry, go ahead, Chelsea.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say that, yeah, if I understood what you were asking there, Susie, that eliminating trucks on the roads every day of the week was a huge consideration for me. And I know, just to opine a little bit, there's been a lot of misinformation about this and some of the other topics we're going to get into here, but I think it's good to point out again that this is a facilitated contract through Metro Waste, so it's not direct with the city. We're using the primary owner of the landfill in a similar capacity that every other community in the metro is currently going through, at least when we adopt this, or as we're scheduled to on July 2nd. Ankeny will be the only community in the metro that hasn't gone this route, and I do know there is a perspective to this that it eliminates some opportunities, and that's unfortunately true. For me, the factor of being able to save, depending on who your current carrier is, somewhere between 40 or 50% discount, as well as reducing some of the wear and tear on the road and the possibility for accidents as my primary factors. But I get that the open market piece of this is an arguable point, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. I'll let others speak if they have anything. Appreciate those questions being answered.
Hi, my name's Joel Sweega. Some questions as well. From what I just heard, one of the council members stated that when this resolution passes, it doesn't go into effect until July 1st. Does that mean we don't have a choice? The council has already made its mind up that it is going to pass, and you are not going to take our public input seriously?
I don't even, Joel, I don't think that you even believe that that's true. What I said was, if the proposed piece goes through, that would be the case. So if you want to parse words, if you have a substantive point as to why to change this, I would think that that would be time better spent than the earlier sort of ridiculous comment.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't think it's ridiculous. Has there been any consideration as to what day the trash is going to come? Because like me, I take my trash and recycle out currently on the same day. I don't have to do it on different days of the week. So is it going to be done on Friday with the recyclable, or is it going to be on a different day?
Pickup day will be on Wednesdays. That is the day that Ankeny Sanitation currently comes to town, and that was the day we could get the best pricing for the residents.
Okay, so is the pricing going to go down for current Ankeny Sanitation members?
Yes, for current users of Ankeny Sanitation, yes.
Okay, how much will that be going down?
On average, people in town are paying about $14 a month, and the new rate will be $8.34.
Okay. One of the concerns was wear and tear on the road that you guys would like to save on. I would like an exact dollar figure on how much wear and tear is saved annually.
I don't think we can give you an exact dollar figure right now. There's a lot of research that's been done on this topic in general of how much wear and tear you do on your streets in general, and I'd be happy to share that with you, but I don't have anything specific to Polk City.
Okay, perhaps at the reading of the next ordinance, you could have that information showing, if not exactly, an approximate of how much money will be saved annually.
Is there a range or a specific figure that would help you get more comfortable with this?
No. One of the reasons stated was that it will save wear and tear on the roads, and I'm just curious how much that is, since that's one of the reasons stating for going with one hauler.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has suggested a specific figure. I don't think it's a very intuitive leap to say that it will be a savings of some kind to have fewer vehicles on there, but to be able to precisely identify which type of traffic causes where and how much that will change is not I think that's practical.
Okay, so are you going to be eliminating construction companies to only one construction company as well?
No, but we do limit construction. We do limit construction activities and vehicles to certain roadways when deemed necessary, and that has been done in the past. For example, when Lost Lake Estates was being constructed, they had to go down certain roadways and not newer roadways. So we do take notice of those types of things.
Okay. Well, my biggest complaint is I do my trash with my recycles on Friday, one day a week. It's a convenience factor. That's all it is to me. It's just a simple convenience factor. You know, I hope you will take that into consideration. And that is all I have to say on this matter.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment before we move on.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yes, wear and tear on the roads. A figure we can give is we know how much we spend every year on annual road improvements. We know what that is. Now we'll have to wait and see if that goes down with use of these trucks. I don't know, but that's a secondary thing to me. It's a chance we've had, which we've had very few of within the last, I'm going to say 8 to 10 years, where we can actually save the citizens of Polk City some money. And that was my main outlook on this, was this is a chance to save some money because our tax dollars have greatly diminished and we have subsidized some of these things for a long time, and we're finding ourselves in a position where we can't do that anymore. So we're looking at other ways to save our citizens money.
Okay, but you don't know how much money that will save you.
How much it will save me? Yeah, I do know. I do know how much it's going to save me. It's going to save me $7 a month.
Okay, so your $7 a month is worth my choice in a democratic society to choose who I want to haul my trash.
Okay.
That's an argument
Okay.
we can't have at this meeting.
Yeah.
I can't, no, I
Yeah.
can't.
Okay.
I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at all of Polk City.
Yeah,
All right.
I think
So
what
everybody
Joel's
in
trying to say is
Let,
Hang on the phone.
yeah.
Hang on
Yeah,
on the
hey.
phone. Hold on.
Yeah.
Everybody on the phone,
Hey,
hold on.
yeah, look, we're getting out of control. I've got an ordinance out, second reading. Let's call for a motion on that, please.
Well, was there somebody else that wanted to make a point, or was that no?
It's Susie and Joel were the ones that were speaking.
Okay.
Are you guys willing to take some time?
No, I was just seconding what Joel was saying. I know there's a lot of folks in our neighborhood that weren't concerned about the cost savings. They're concerned with customer satisfaction with their current vendors. The cost wasn't a factor for garbage hauling. It was who they chose to leverage based on the service that they've received. So I was just seconding what he was saying.
Okay, and that.
Are you guys willing to take a couple more questions?
Who is this?
This is Dustin Delachiza.
Give you a couple minutes. Yep.
Okay. So in the past, we have voted for a tax that covers our recycling. That's being taken away, and we're being charged recycling. I think a lot of people don't know we're going to be charged for recycling as well. It wasn't communicated very well. What is that extra money going to be used for?
The money we charge for recycling is going to pay our recycling bill we receive from the MWA every month. So right now the city covers the cost of that service. All the residents are provided, and that is exactly what that money is going towards. We are charging by the penny onto the residents for that service.
He referenced it.
Was the tax not part of that being covered?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
So we passed I believe it was a 1 cent tax agreement or whatever, a tax vote for that to cover our recycling. Why is it not able to cover it anymore?
No. Chelsea, go ahead. Chelsea, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the 1% tax that the citizens passed is local option sales tax. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I think we voted in the past to have that covered through the city on a tax. If I might be wrong though.
No.
There's no history of that.
No.
If I could, when this originally started, recycling was $2 a month for the curbside carryout. If you remember those little green things we had, and we were in a position then that we could pay that. We picked that up with our local option sales tax. You're right, it was paid with the tax, but that's not what that tax was specific for. Well, now there's a lot more people in Polk City, a lot more curbside, plus the cost of everything has gone up, so it costs more. And with us losing local option sales tax money, we can't afford to pay everybody's anymore. I wish we could, but we can't.
Okay, I understand that. My other question was, why are we not able to opt out of the recycling program if we want to? I know many residents that do not do recycling right now. I myself, I probably recycle more than I throw away, but there's a lot of concern with other people that don't currently recycle. Now they're going to be charged that, I think it's $3.54 every time.
That's a state law, right, Chelsea?
Yes.
I am unsure if it's a state law. It's my understanding we can either opt out or opt in as a whole. We can't pick and choose which people recycle and which don't, because MWA sends us a bill for the number of rooftops in our community. And you're talking about it being a lot of work for city staff to communicate with MWA which houses choose not to recycle. So it's opt-in or opt-out as a whole.
Okay. I have one more question about garbage. My current waste carrier is going to charge me $100 to pick up their curbside container. Is the city going to be covering that cost since we are being forced to use a collection agency?
No, we won't be covering that cost. I mean, we would gladly go pick up those few bins in town for a lot cheaper than $100. So no, we're not going to cover that cost. And I don't know if that's even reasonable for them to ask that of the residents.
Right, but I understand where they're coming from. I run a small business, and you know, the money portion of it is not important to me. It's supporting another small business. I use garbage guys, and the owners, you actually see them out picking up your trash. That is all. That's all I have.
Muted, Jason.
Thanks. Anybody else? All right, can I get a motion on ordinance 2020-500, please?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, second reading of ordinance 2020-700, amending water rates. Need a motion on this one too, please.
So is there any room, this is Andrew Denner, is there any room for questions or comments on the water rates?
Take a couple. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just sort of alarmed at hearing at a neighborhood barbecue here, the amounts and increases of costs here seem to be rather out of hand, especially, I get why you guys are trying to do it, but it just seems like you guys have your hands out for the water here and the garbage and everything else. It just seems like it's a bit much.
Well, I don't know that we have our hand out in the garbage sense. We're actually saving people money on that piece. But to your question, and again, there's been a lot of, and I want to hear other ones as well, but there's been a lot of misinformation online about this. So this is the second reading, and we've been working on our water and sewer rates for a number of months now. And the changes are, most of the changes, aside from the irrigation meter, are passed along increases by Des Moines Waterworks. We are increasing the irrigation meters, and that was specific to a study we had done by PFM. And to paraphrase the consultant that we used, he said that it's kind of hard to, the impacts of how irrigation is being used has caused not just those that have irrigation meters, and I have one as well, so I'm not excited about paying more, but because the irrigation varies so much and causes our peaks to rise so much on the days in which that uses, I'm looking at page 15 of a report that we're going to be able to put online here pretty quick that outlines that on peak days it can vary from the average by as much as 413%. And that impacts, like I said earlier, everybody. And so his point was in his recommendation, which we're following through on, was that anything that can be done to curb those peaks will reduce the amount of water that we have to order and the amount of water that we have to order over our capacity, which gets passed along to every citizen here.
Why we're putting in irrigation? Can I ask a question if that gentleman answer will suffice?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you have time for one more question on the irrigation part?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, question.
Okay, two more questions. I was curious with this study, has there been an effort before increasing the city's irrigation to 40%? Could we consider doing an irrigation education with the users that are out there, similar to the same folks that are on the backflow list? We could send out an education of how much our town is reliant on irrigation, and then leveraging the 2020 irrigation schedule to see if that helps make an impact on the gallons used. The reason I ask is because irrigation can be more efficient, that I see people like my neighbor that's running irrigation while it's raining, you know, and folks like that, I don't know if they even understand how to adjust their irrigation accordingly. But irrigation can be very efficient if you understand how to use it properly and know what days to use it on instead of just letting it run continuously. So I'm curious if we could take that into consideration first before raising everybody's rates 40%, because we all have sod. We're all new construction for the most part, and that requires soaking your grass in for the first year or two if you want to have a lawn that you've invested in.
Unfortunately, we have to do the education piece and the rate increase. This is just to get us by this year. I'm not saying that we're immediately going to reevaluate it for next year, but we have to do both of these pieces for this upcoming fiscal year.
Yeah, and that is a good question. It was a part of the proposal, and we are doing both of those things as well as some other things within Public Works to try and mitigate those peak days, because to your point, Susie, I don't think a lot of people understand the value in a schedule, you know, and I know we put out odd number addresses on, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and even on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, but I think we need to make that change all at once, and then if it does have some of the impacts that maybe we hope it would, but I'm a little leery of, I think there is an opportunity to walk back some of the rate increases, but again, we're pretty well in line with the ratio for these irrigation meters to what other communities have, especially those that really have problematic soils, as you mentioned, with new construction.
Okay, I appreciate the response. I just wanted to make sure we were taking it into consideration. Because again, it does feel a little bit like profiling, and I feel like there wasn't a whole lot of a heads up of, you know, hey, this is a problem for our community.
Yeah.
Last Thursday was the first I was hearing that irrigation's our problem. That's why we're not ordering enough water.
Well, it's not ordering water. We only have the ability to have a capacity price to a certain point, but this is so unfortunate that we have to do this in a Zoom meeting. I hate the timing of this immeasurably. I wish this could have been done in person. Like I said, this study we've been working on for months, and now that we have to do this in a disjointed fashion, online versus in person, or having special meetings for this, and have we handled that perfectly? No, probably not. I know I haven't, even on this call, but it's a tough spot that we're all in. I can tell you that the intent is as proactive as we can be. I know there's a number of materials going out to show what's changing and where, and I apologize that it hasn't manifest itself for everybody to the extent that it helps them get on board with it. It is an increase, one that I'm sharing in and don't enjoy. I do see these as necessary moves. If there's any way to avoid it, certainly would have loved to have done that.
Well, and I will say too, some of this, you know, when we were looking at the consolidated trash, knowing that we could save our citizens a fair amount of money on their trash, you know, again, when we're looking at everything together, we've spent a lot of time, we've gotten data, research, meetings. I mean, there has been a lot that has gone into this, and I do appreciate everybody's, you know, the comments and concerns you are bringing to us, and we have discussed them. So I want you, you know, to know that you're heard, know that your comments were anticipated, and none of this has come lightly. So unfortunately, yeah, we are just at a point where we need to make some of these changes.
And to add on to all this, we have an opportunity here and there to look at stormwater ordinance, potentially develop programs to help all residents in town with stormwater management so that maybe we can rely less on irrigation, use more of the natural contours, the natural system of our land, hold that water in so that we don't rely on our water. We don't rely on Des Moines Water Works for water. So that's something that I intend to push here with city staff and city council so that we can get some programs implemented that maybe help offset what's going on here today.
And I think another important comment to that is the work that's been done by previous councils before us in purchasing capacity when it was available, and they were able to take those funds out of general, not pass that on to the consumers at that point. We were able to increase our capacity by purchasing the capacity elsewhere. I know, Ron, you were part of that. We've had a couple of those, and I think that's important to note because a lot of that happened and people didn't pay much attention to it when it did, but it saved us a lot of money down the road because of that additional capacity that was able to be done.
Yeah, good point, Jason. And
You have some questions for me.
along with that is the fact that because of our local option sales tax money, we were able to subsidize some of those increased fees at the time. And so basically water rates, I don't know, I can't give you exact year, but your water has been subsidized for quite a while. And we're at the point now where we can't do that anymore. And since Jason brought up going back in the past, which everybody gives me a hard time about, I like to do it. There was a time, if Mike Schulte can vouch for this, when in the summertime, when it's peak irrigation time, you get up in the morning, there might not be enough water in the tower to fight a fire. And if you want to go way back to when Jason was just a boy and I first moved to Polk City, you'd come home from work and there wasn't enough water in the tower to take a shower. I was in the 70s when we first started having growth. And I know for sure we don't want to go back there.
Careful, you're dating yourself.
Well, I am old. I can't deny it.
Sorry, I had to throw it out there.
That's
all right. All right. Any other questions, or can we get a motion on ordinance 2020-700?
Yeah, this is Joel. I have some questions.
Go ahead.
Is there? Okay. So this increase, so has the city been absorbing the cost in the past, or have the contracts expired with Des Moines Water Works? So, or is the city going to be using this money for something else and treating it as a luxury tax?
I promise you it's not a luxury tax.
Okay, so this money, why are we being charged it now? I mean, I can't imagine the city's been eating the cost for all these years.
That's
exactly what's been happening.
So the city has just been eating the cost of millions and millions of gallons of water every year.
Correct.
Okay. Do you guys know, maybe you don't, TCI, the golf course, do they use Polk City water, or do they have an alternative method like a pond for their irrigation?
They do use water. They have both of that is true.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
They use, for the irrigating the golf course, they use a pond. They only use city water in the clubhouse and their bathrooms.
Okay. Okay, well, that makes sense. What about having some kind of ordinance for the developers to leave us good dirt? I know when they were doing our development, they took all the black dirt off, hauled it away, and we were left with, honestly, junk. If you want a good, a beautiful yard, you're going to need to water it,
so
and fertilize it. Now,
so so I'll cut you off.
Well, that wouldn't be the case. Has there been any thought to that?
Yes, we actually just recently had a conversation around that. It's come up in the past, and we just had another conversation about it. But
Okay, and what came?
But, we're working on it. That's part of what Jeff was talking about earlier.
Okay. You just have a couple more. So I'm washing my car. I have a water meter. My neighbor's not washing, or my neighbor's washing their car. They don't have a water meter. We're both doing the same thing, yet I'm paying more for water because my hoses.
Actually, you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
Irrigation meter, you're being charged less because if he's using a regular meter, he's paying per sewer as well. So you're actually paying less in that scenario.
Okay, how much difference is that, do you know?
The example that I was given depends on how much water you're using. It'll save you about $30 for every 5,000 gallons used. Does that help?
Rob was kind of cutting out there, but
Yeah, I think we've lost him.
you save about $30 by having an irrigation meter for every 5,000 gallons of water. That's just a quick estimate.
So has the city looked at not charging for water meters? Because we all paid for the water meters to save us money, which it sounds like it's still going to save us a little money. It's just going to save us 40% less money. So has the city thought about reducing the cost of water meters or providing those at no charge?
The cost of the water meter is the direct cost that we get from the supplier. Neptune gives us those meters at that cost that's passed directly on to the residents that get it. So it's not a city, they're not free, so it's just an expense that's passed on.
Joel, how about
Yeah, I was just going to say.
we have a conversation, the two of us, and let's proceed with the council meeting.
Thank you.
To answer any of your questions you have beyond this point.
Well, I honestly just have one or two more questions, and
we need to. We're not in a public hearing. We've already opened up more public comments than we typically do because of the Zoom meeting. So if you could work with city staff and getting those questions answered, we do have one more reading of this in 2 weeks, and so if there's any other questions that the council needs to be made aware of between now and then, we can handle that. Otherwise, I'd encourage you to reach out to city staff and get some of those questions answered between now and then.
Can somebody please contact me tomorrow, since I know I'm concerned?
I will send you an email.
Okay. And I guess the only thing I have to say is I'm disappointed that we can't continue this at the city council meeting. I know there is time for public comment.
Okay. Can I get a motion on second reading of ordinance 2020-700, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
I think we
He's
lost Rob.
frozen.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
So can I say motion carried? Are you there, Rob? I think that was a yes. Amy, can I?
Yeah, your motion
Can you
carried.
hear me?
You're breaking up real bad.
But yes, your motion carried just with the 3 votes that you got, so.
Okay.
That you can hear.
Okay. If we bring Rob back, he can make his comment. All right. Motion carries on that. Next item, second reading of ordinance 2020-800, amending the provisions for fireworks.
So moved.
Thanks. Did we get a second? Okay. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please. Oh,
Hello, yeah, this is Andrew Denner again. Just categorically disappointed in yet again changing the fireworks laws. I mean, if you look at the skies above Polk City,
okay.
people are sort of voting with their.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop you on the phone for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want to clarify that
Yeah.
the fireworks ordinance was nothing about when they could be used. It was just enforcement.
That's all.
I understand that.
Okay. All right. I got a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Hold on one second. I'm admitting Rob.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see his background. All right.
Can you guys
Rob,
hear me?
yeah, we got a motion and a second on the fireworks ordinance, and we think you said yes on the water rates. Is that right?
I did. Sorry about
Okay.
that. I don't know what's going on with my internet connection here.
It's all good.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, Snetzler and I'm gonna somebody. Liscow, thank you. Petitions to rezone. First item, second reading of ordinance 2020-900, rezoning 82.82 acres to R1. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
So before we get into this, I think as a previous no voter on the other two pieces, how do we bring those back in?
I would suggest you bring that up, Rob, during
Comments.
council comments. You just direct staff to replace that item on the following agenda for consideration.
Gotcha. So second on this one then.
Questions, discussion, roll call.
I don't have a second yet.
Oh, he did. Rob just seconded.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, second reading of ordinance 2020-1000, rezoning 31.86 acres to R2. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on, reports and particulars. I don't know. Staff, you have anything? Start at the top. Jenny?
No, sir.
Jamie? No? Jim?
No, sir.
Hey, nice work on your pancake breakfast, by the way.
Yes, I should say thank you to the community for coming out and supporting us.
Yeah, nice work. Jason?
Nothing to report.
Kathleen?
I have nothing.
Mike?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that the contractor that's doing the asphalt overlay emailed today and said that they would like to start on Thursday and Friday, starting the paving project, weather permitting. And I know we do have a little bit of rain, but we're lucky enough that everything goes over a top coat anyway. So it just can't be raining at the time. So sounds like they're going to be pretty close to getting started for us.
Excellent. That's great news.
And that's it for me.
Thanks. Chief Sipker.
Hey, nothing to me.
Glad to hear it. All right. Yeah, council, we'll start at the top. Who do I got up? Jeff.
I just want to echo what Rob had mentioned earlier about the Corps of Engineers meeting we had with Senator Ernst. I'm hoping that moves forward and we get some better resolution and guidance on future projects, since the Corps of Engineers is our biggest neighbor here in town. We need a good relationship with them. I think we generally do with the local guys, but it's some of those other departments that are really sticklers right now, not just for us, but for the metro as a whole. And when projects go south in the metro, the cumulative impact does hit us. So it's important that we stay on top of these issues. And then it's good to hear that I think we had some good, healthy conversation, regardless of some of the comments that were brought in tonight with these second readings. I think we are still doing the right job moving forward. I think we did it legally. People had notice. People just have to pay attention in order to understand what's going on in town. We all have phone numbers. We all have emails. We can all be contacted. So it's important that our citizens contact us. And then finally, it's summertime and we're all trying to get outside. And when you're out in the public places, especially those wooded areas that people are going out to, watch out for poison ivy. It's extremely bad this year. I can attest to it. Normally I don't react to it, and I got it pretty good this year. So be careful when you're out there. Watch for leaves with 3. Make sure you clean yourself off as soon as you get home from the woods. Check for rash, check for ticks, and hopefully we enjoy a nice summer that's not rainy like today. That's all I got.
Appreciate your comments on the poison ivy. Ron, you're muted.
I got it off now there, I think. Yeah, I'm an expert on poison ivy. I think I've had it at least once every year since I was 8. And I try to stay out of the timber, but still I'm out there every once in a while. But on a happy note, I had a call from one of our constituents today and wanted to thank me that we were getting those streets in the original part of town redone. He thinks that's a real good deal that's going to happen. He supported us on the consolidated garbage pickup, which, like me, he'd been with Walters forever out of Boone, and was disappointed because they provide excellent service, but he also understood it was the right decision to make going forward. So hasn't all been bad news. There are some citizens out there that support what we're doing, and I really appreciate that, hearing from him. I appreciated Chelsea's emails that come out with the facts on these things that are happening, and I hope that all the citizens have a chance to see those and get a chance to read them. And I know that she will do a good job in answering those questions of those people that we heard from tonight. So thank you, Chelsea. That's all I have.
Thanks, Ron. Mandy?
I know I said it earlier, but I will just reiterate. With the utility bill changes, the trash, the recycling, water, sewer, we know there are a lot of changes coming at our citizens. We know there are questions, there are concerns, as I think Rob mentioned. You know, as we were talking through this, we didn't anticipate we would have to do this through a Zoom meeting. We're communicating as best we can. We hear the concerns. Again, we've anticipated the concerns. There has been so much work and discussion really that has brought us to where we landed on these things. So I do appreciate and value the comments that we've heard. So I just want to make sure that everybody out there knows that we do hear those. And again, we will do our best to provide, you know, as much communication and as clear as we can. And I do know that, you know, Chelsea and staff are really working on that. So yeah, like I said, just want to let everybody know you are heard and understood, despite where we are going with some of these things. And again, we've got one more reading on some of these, but yeah, that's all I have.
Great. Rob?
Yeah, so I guess, and I think I can sort of speak for Ron as another no vote, but with respect to the 2 zoning issues that didn't pass with the Snetzler property, I think that, well, not to put too fine a point on it, but mostly Mandy's comments towards the end of last meeting got to me, and as usual, she was very correct. And my concerns were down the road. I still am concerned by a lot of it. I can't for the life of me understand why you would show the commercial option that they showed if there's never going to be an intent or plan to do that. But nonetheless, those are all things to be sussed out after zoning. So if we can add that back on next meeting to discuss. I think that makes sense. Is there anything else that I need to do on that front?
That's it.
Are you asking for both rezonings, right? Just to be clear.
The commercial and the R1A.
Okay. Yep.
Ron, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I was remiss in not mentioning what you did, but what Mandy said that at the meeting last week really struck home with me, and I really appreciated her comments and Chelsea's guidance that I received later on. That was a great help to me. And you'd think at almost 72, I'd know it all by now, but I don't. So I'm learning every week too. I just think that there's a lot of other options out there, and that's not to say that we can't or won't consider these other options, but I think it's something that can be made to work.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
You know, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or Rob, did you have something else to say?
I do, but go ahead. I want to finish this while we're on this. Keep going.
Sure. Well, just to piggyback on all this, you know, it's great to see Quick Star and P&M. Well, Quick Star coming in town and P&M moving into a new shop. You know, it's pretty exciting. That adds commercial, and the fact that we are reconsidering commercial out on Andy Snetzler's property, I think, you know, shows some good progress. What it will be, you know, we'll see down the road, but I think it's important that we allow for that type of commercial and that type of growth within the community. So, you know, I think we're doing the right thing here.
Yeah, and just to be clear, that wasn't the concern for me necessarily. It was a lot of little things, which again, it was premature to vote, I think, the way I did when there is an opportunity and a lot of work that to be fair to the developer is up in the air. Again, we've got an issue with the Army Corps, but with all the back and forth, it made me nervous, and I probably jumped the gun a little bit. So, you know, leave it at that. A couple more things that I have. I know we opened back up the park, everything around the playground. I would like to see that to continue. Hoops back on the court, some of those things. I know that is a sensitive issue, and I recognize that. And I don't know if anybody else saw what the North Dakota governor had to say about masks and not wearing a mask, but I thought that was very prescient for the times that we're in. But giving people the option, I talked to some surrounding communities, and I understand it, and I'm not second guess the decision to do it, but there weren't many others that went to the extent of taking those hoops off, and I think we're to the point now where we can put those back on. So just, that's my opinion. I'm not the deciding party on that, but I just wanted to share my thoughts because I have heard from some folks on that front. Similar issue with the sports complex as well. Another thing, so I wanted to thank Chelsea and City Hall staff for organizing the projects the way they did. It was a good thought exercise to go through and grade those like we did. I want to put it out there to the department heads. I tried to be a fair grader. I counted up, I only gave out 2 Fs and a lot more As and Bs, but I see this, and I know Chelsea mentioned this before, but this is a pushing off point rather than a final decision. So would love to get pushback from the department heads on things that maybe they feel should have been graded a little bit higher. But I love how we're organizing this and just can't say enough good things about how we're doing our capital improvement projects going forward. So the last thing, I'm going to probably continue to dig a hole with some people, but the intent of us going through some of these changes is not to make anybody pay for anything other than their fair share. And if you have an issue with the execution, that is completely fair. I would appeal to the intent and some of the work, but some of these are debatable points. I fully recognize that, even if I don't agree with all of them. I've heard from a number of people, today that price isn't the main thing, in talking about the garbage, but I've heard from others that it has. So know that when you approach this with genuine questions and genuine feedback, and not falsehoods or items taken to a ridiculous stream, that is feedback that I'm ready, willing, and able to use as we make decisions. But if you want to be an internet tough guy and use bad information and try and stir people up, I'm not as receptive to that. So that's all I got.
Unfortunately, everybody who probably should have heard your comments, Rob, have dropped off the call. So
my responsibility, say it, they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah. So anyway, but on that note, I would like to echo just a little bit of those comments that, yeah, it is unfortunate that we have to do these things with the current environment that we have. It's certainly, I would even argue that a lot of these decisions, we can base on previous councils and some of the leadership that they had. And even though Ron said how old he was twice tonight. So we don't typically get that twice in one night. But anyway, I digress. No, so I think that, the comments, albeit some of them are good, it is unfortunate that we have to do it in this environment. And I would agree that unfortunately some of the information that was being passed around was some misinformation, but nonetheless, I hope that whatever questions that anybody in the community has between now and then, they reach out to either us or to City Hall and get those questions answered, and hopefully we can move forward, because I don't believe for a minute any decision that we're making is being made to try and build a slush fund or whatever that was the accusation. So anyway, a couple other quick things. Rob, I do want to make comment, and because it is important right now. Obviously, with the governor's proclamation today, we didn't get it and read it until early this afternoon. We've actually had a couple conversations on it, and we're really figuring out how to properly move forward with it. So I do see something coming soon. They did open the parks up on Friday, what they could, and so I do know that playgrounds, I think, were on the list of June 1st, I think is what I saw today. So do look for some more changes to be coming down the line, and I don't want anybody to, it's obviously a sensitive topic. Like it's going to be, unfortunately it became politically divisive, and I want to be clear. I don't think any of us are going down that path. We're trying to just do what's right based on the guidance we're being given from others as well. Amy, I do have one quick question. And if I could, and again, unfortunately, the people who need to be here in this aren't on the call, but what is the recycling law? Isn't there a law that cities have to provide recycling? Isn't that a state law? Isn't that my understanding?
I don't know if it's that specific, but there is a state mandate to recycle or lower what's going to the landfills by a certain percentage and a certain date.
Right.
There may also be, it may be more specific to mandating that the cities actually recycle, but generally that was the first mandate I know.
Okay.
We all have a duty to limit what's going to the landfill, and recycling was the way in which that was done.
And that the cities had to offer, and wasn't it that the cities had to offer that, right? They had to offer a recycling option or something?
That very well may be the case.
Okay.
I don't know. I've not been asked that question before, but I know that MWA took, years and years ago, that the way in which they chose to fulfill their mandate was to begin the recycling program, which is now what we have today. But I'll sure look that up and see and get back to you and let you know for sure if there's a specific Iowa code section that says a city has to recycle.
Yeah.
Iowa Code Section 455B302 requires every city and county to provide for the establishment and operation of a comprehensive solid waste reduction program consistent with waste management hierarchy set in 455B.
There you go.
It's out there.
Thanks.
Wow.
No, I thought that was my understanding. Good job, Rob. Good job, Jeff. You impressed Ron. That was quick. I'm impressed.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I thought that was the case. I just couldn't remember what the rule on it was, and I just, since this did come up and people were questioning on opting out, I want to make sure that that's not really an option. So anyway, and it's time for a quick update on the comment cupboard. Bridget did send me a couple notes on it. Bridget did ask that we thank the community members for their continued support, and with the daily food drop-offs or monetary donations. Just a reminder that the next food bag pickup is Saturday, June 6th. And again, they're seeing some record uses out there. And obviously they will continue to take any donations that they can. Also mentioned here that the Creamery has teamed up with the local Legion Post 232 and is selling poppies, with all of the proceeds going to the Legion. So check out the Creamery. And then Jim, Bridget also says, great job by the fire department and all involved in the pancake breakfast and raising money for the comic cupboard. So anyway, a couple of quick notes from there. And obviously the hashtag continue to support local anywhere you can, as these businesses are starting to open up. Even at 50%, they can still continue to use our support. So get out and do that where you can. And Chelsea, I didn't call on you earlier, so I'm going to punt to you and see if there's anything else you had.
I really have nothing. Again, still working on what reopening looks like. It's unfortunately not something we want to keep kicking the can down to make a decision, but I think we have somewhat of a plan in place, and I did share that with the council earlier today. So hoping to get city staff back at city offices June 15th and tentatively opening City Hall back up July 6th. I did have a Metro managers meeting last week, and a lot of cities are talking about this, and I felt like we got some good feedback, and I'm like everybody else, making tentative dates, but nothing set in stone. So
and continuing Zoom meetings through June at this point, right?
Yes, that's my recommendation. I'd like for us to talk about it sometime in June, having meetings back in person in July if it's possible.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And Amy, did you have anything? I didn't call on you earlier. Perfect. All right. Does anybody else have anything else for the cause? Ron, you got anything you want to add?
I just want to say that I'm going to brag a little bit. I had 2 iPads going tonight, one broadcasting and one looking at the agenda. I'm quite proud of myself here, but I had help. Other than that, I make a motion to adjourn.
So move, or second.
All in favor?
Aye.
See you guys.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.